Recently, there's been a lot of buzz around some influencers irresponsibly promoting some height increase surgeries.
अपनी शॉर्ट हाइट की वजह से ना लोग काफी कॉन्शियस फील करते हैं
और कभी कभी रिश्तों पे भी इफेक्ट पड़ता है।
आप लोगों को भी अपनी हाइट बढ़ाकर अपनी पर्सनालिटी इंप्रूव करनी है तो लिम्ब लेंथनिंग सर्जरी।
Now, looking at the messaging, you can clearly tell that they're looking to monetize male insecurities, because for men, the whole idea of height has got a lot to do with masculinity, their success in dating pool, as well as their power and the way they looked at in society in general.
हाइट का पहले बहुत लगता था कि यार छोटी हाइट है, छोटी हाइट है। हम बुली भी करते थे, गली मोहल्ले के लोग बुली करते थे, रिलेटिव्स बुली करते थे, अरे ये तो इतना ही रह गया। तो इतना मैंने सुन लिया ना, मेरा निकल चुका है वो वाला era।
And that might make you feel that women have it easier, or maybe the pressure is not so aggressive. But the brutal truth is that it's not easier for us, it's just different. Because the goalpost for us women has moved from being taller to being more elongated.
इस लगन के दम पर 2008 में करीना ने हासिल की वो फिगर जो बॉलीवुड की दूसरी एक्ट्रेसेस के लिए एग्जाम्पल बन गई। उस वक्त बेबो के वजन का सेंसेक्स भले ही 50 किलो जैसे मिनिमम पॉइंट पर था, लेकिन इस गिरावट ने बॉलीवुड में तहलका मचा दिया।
Same, but different.
Now here's the interesting part. Looking more elongated, not taller but elongated, actually does fix a lot of problems for us women. You look leaner, your clothes sit better, your posture improves, and overall, your body just looks more put together.
Which is where, if you notice, all of us women, through fashion tools, are trying to achieve the same purpose. Whether we call it looking leaner, more lengthened, more self-confident, more dancer-like, or just a leveled up version of ourselves.
And you see this most clearly in some women who've maintained it over time, way better than others who are naturally blessed with a taller frame. These elongated appearing women are not taller, but they look lifted, structured and curvy from all the right places. And just so you know, this is not just a fitness trait, it's a beauty trait. Because as much as we think that beauty is what we see on the surface, under every curve, every contour of your face and your body lies a muscle. And that's what actually shapes how you look, not just today, but over decades.
Hi guys, my name is Isha hai, and in this video we're going to talk about how to look more elongated and hence of a taller frame, no matter your age, your height or where you are in your fitness journey, and without having to rely on fashion tools like heels or shapewear. So without wasting any more time, let's go.
Now let's look at some of the tools women have been using, knowingly or unknowingly, to look more elongated for decades. Heels to make our legs look longer, shapewear to tighten and smoothen things out, push-up bras to lift the upper body. So many tools, but all chasing the same outcome, to look longer, leaner and more lifted. That's what we actually call today's highly sought after Pilates body as well. But Pilates body is not a body type, it's a visual effect. Now let me show you this simply. 3 women, almost the same height, completely different visual impact. Alia Bhatt, of a petite frame, Sanya Malhotra, more strength focused, Malaika Arora, more elongated and lifted. Same height but completely different body reading. And here's what most of us miss. Being petite is not the problem. Even being slightly heavier is not the problem. It's the lack of structure. Because without the right structure, the body can start looking shorter, heavier and more compressed. Like you can be doing everything right. Heels, shapewear, styling, and still feel like your body looks slightly packed. And that's usually the real problem, because when your structure is right, everything lifts, everything lengthens and your body just reads so different.
So there are some women who lead public lives, which means that every time they step out of their home, often the camera tends to capture them from angles that nobody likes. And they often have professions that are performance based, be it fashion or dancing for that matter, wherein the usual fashion tools that you and I use probably all the time is something that they can't, and which is where for them to be dependent on any tool or a specific angle from which they choose to be photographed are not the options always, which is why they've mastered this thing called perception engineering, wherein they exercise their body to train the muscles to actually work the way fashion tools shape their body. This, of course, is a lot safer because no matter where they get seen and what they're doing, with of course better with the fashion tools, but even without them, they still end up looking the elongated version that we see on camera.
And this is not just styling or even your genes. Genetics are where you start, not where you end. What actually changes how your body looks is how it's held and trained to move. It's the smaller, deeper muscles underneath that decide whether your body looks lifted or stunted. And that's what creates that elongated effect even without heels or shapewear.
So if you remember Malaika Arora while dancing on the song Chaya Chaya, boss, she was on the top of a train while wearing the shortest choli and the lowest layered lehenga, wherein there was no possibility of fitting in any shapewear. And since she was dancing on top of the train, there was no way she could actually perform those difficult dance steps while wearing heels of any sorts.
Because things like fashion tools and styling tips only are able to work as well as the canvas they're being built on.
And in fact, I will actually show you with my own example that back in the day, I legit tried every fashion tool in the most extreme way possible. Towering heels, unbreathably tight shapewear, just in the hope of looking 1%, forget elongated, leaner, taller, anything, whatever it takes. But at the end of the day, despite trying everything, I just eventually just looked very under pressure, uncomfortable, and someone who's finding it very hard to move or breathe.
What actually changed for me was not styling or just getting fitter. It was training these smaller muscles accidentally through 4 very simple movements. Strangely, they came from habits I picked up when I was at my heaviest and ended up changing my body for the better. And honestly, if these could do so much work on my problematic state of body, believe me, it can create magic for you.
Are your legs too fat, too thin, bow-legged, or as beautiful as you'd like them to be?
Let's start with something that almost all of us rely on: heels. We wear them to look taller, more elongated, and more put together. But heels don't really create length, they just make you stand higher. And standing higher does not mean looking longer. In fact, over time it can do the opposite. Your calves stay shortened, your ankles get restricted, and that area starts looking tighter, heavier, and more stunted. So even if the rest of your body is getting leaner, your legs can still look shorter and more packed.
So with calves, I actually faced a two-pronged problem.
First, I've always had a shorter, wider, and a heavier lower body, especially my calves. And with my thyroid, that area just became more stubborn with time.
Also, from back in the day until like very recently, the only way I knew that I could look any bit thinner, leaner, elongated, call it whatever you like, is by wearing towering heels.
But instead of giving me any real length, they just gave me pain, swollen ankles, and a higher point of view. And what actually gets seen before your shoes is the finish of your legs, meaning your calves and your ankles. And once you notice that, you start seeing the difference everywhere.
So fun fact, ever since I was a kid until the time I lost weight, I hated the idea of getting clicked. If there are some pictures that must be taken, I will do whatever it takes to be like the last person seen in the group, so that it's just my face that gets seen and there's like no documented proof of how big I used to be. So I myself, not being a very tall person, the effort that it actually took for me to keep being like the last person in the line with just face being seen required me to stand on my toes.
And interestingly, that exact idea is a core part of ballet. Holding your body weight on lifted feet, which is what gives that long lifted leg line.
Now this toe standing over a period of time somehow moved from just being something that I did to get my face in the picture to just become like a coping mechanism for every time I feel uncomfortable or anxious or pressured. Like in the gym, when I'm actually waiting between sets, I have a policy of never looking at my phone. Between sets, I will just get on my toes and I will start walking. If there's at home, I'm waiting for a call, if there's some tension or overthinking that's going on, instead of having like that stress ball, I put my toes under stress and I start walking on them. It somehow brings back some memories of leveling up when I needed to, and it just adds the right amount of tension in my body to feel like, okay, you're controlled.
Over time, it just occurred to me that everything is so much about learning how to stay lifted on your own. That's why ballerinas look so sleek and put together. Their feet are constantly working to support and lift everything above them. And that's a perspective most of us miss. We try to fix everything from the hips down, but ignore the one place that actually controls how our lower body is held: your feet. Once you start training them, you're not just changing how your calves look, you're learning control, almost like a standing plank. And when you start walking like this, it's a moving plank. So keep it simple, just get on your toes and walk a few times through the day. Don't treat it like a workout, just make it a habit. And that's when it actually starts changing how your legs and your entire body begin to look. For starters, just hold on to something and simply stand on your toes. Say when you're doom scrolling. It'll help with swollen feet and water retention as well. Once that starts feeling easy, get to walking. And then congratulations, you're already a level 1 ballerina.
Fun fact, I wore my first pair of pants at age 19 or 20. Not because anyone in my family ever told me that you can or cannot wear this, but because I myself was just so mortified and scared of the fact that how worse will I look wearing pants, like fatness wise. And the other bit, I had like this morbid fear of, what if I have to go to a mall and ask for my size and people will say that aapka size ka kapda nahi milta hai type. So
but looking back, I also realized my insecurity wasn't entirely random, because pants, especially the fitted ones, don't really hide your lower body, they define it. They draw a clear line between your waist, your hips and your thighs. And right in the middle of that is your butt. It's the largest and most fluid part of that entire area. And to a large extent, it decides how structured or unstructured your lower body looks. Which is why just the act of lifting it physically can completely change how your frame reads. And that's something no clothing can truly replicate, because fabric can only sit on your body, it can't reshape what's underneath.
here's a picture of me from like my school farewell. And of course, school farewell, it's like your special occasion and stuff. So I did whatever it takes in the hope of looking maybe 1% elongated.
And of course, I did everything. Tightest and most resilient shapewear pulled at the highest levels possible with my towering heels. But if you look at this, nothing actually looks lifted. Everything just looks tighter, not better. Because shapewear doesn't change your shape, it just takes the shape of where you put it. Like it can compress to smoothen things out, but it can't create lift where there isn't any. And that's true for anything tight. Saris, skirts, shapewear, all of it.
I grew up at my nani's place in Baroda, and at her place, we had the Indian style pot.
Which basically meant sitting into a full deep squat every single day.
Now, even if I was fat, considering that there was no other option,
my body still had to go all the way down, be there for a bit, and then stand up.
like the habit of deep squatting was consistent throughout my growing up years. After all the years, when I actually started weight training, the few people who will actually see me squat also, they'll be very surprised with the fact that, this girl is so heavy and is a beginner. How is it that, she's able to like hold her deep squat so low despite the weight?
This, of course, is muscle memory. My body had already learned to go into that position and I just kept repeating it. Coincidentally, that exact deep squat position is where your glutes and hamstrings get stretched the most. The one place that actually needs to be worked hard if you want a real lift. Because this is also where most of us carry the most stubborn weight. Lower belly, love handles, that entire glute thigh line that makes the lower body look heavier, softer and more stunted. And the only way to change how that looks is to keep taking it through that deep loaded stretch. That's what actually activates it, tightens it, and lifts it. So instead of chasing high waisted fits or compression fabrics to hold things in, deep squatting starts to shift what's underneath, the inactivity, the heaviness, the bloating. All of it begins to clear out when this area is worked on properly. And that's exactly why movements like these have always existed in our daily life. Because they don't just shape how you look, they also support how your body functions. And the best part is that this doesn't need a gym. You just need to get lower, stay there, and let your body learn to hold itself differently. Start with a deep squat. Think of it like sitting in an Indian style position. If you're a beginner, hold on to something, keep your back straight, and just get comfortable staying low. Once that starts to feel natural, start turning it into a sit down, stand up movement, and over time build it into reps. That's when you'll start seeing the real lift without relying on any compression or clothing tricks.
Selection of 1-inch, 2-inch, and 3-inch thigh gap jeans.
These are so comfortable.
Thigh gap, because you aren't good enough.
So tell me, why do we wear tummy tuck bands, hip dip shapewear, or those tight inner shorts under saris and dresses? Well, definitely not for comfort, but to make this area look narrower and more controlled. Because when this inner line looks dense, it breaks the flow of your entire body.
So I don't really have any inner thigh related memory from like my peak era because I was built like this. So fat is fat, right? Whether it's inner thigh or outer thigh. But yeah, as a thigh related memory, I forever had rashes on like my inner upper thighs. And they just got so bad. My nanny had to take me to like a gynac, and then like she suggested, like God bless her, that I should start wearing bloomers. But otherwise, technically wearing like a tighter bloomer does qualify pretty much to like a shapewear. Some uniform pictures I will put you wherein I'm wearing, and clearly my girth looks no bit less wide just because I'm wearing like bloomers or shapewear.
Because the problem was not just on the surface, it was how the inner line was being held.
So this might feel like I'm just connecting dots for the sake of it, but back in the day, my nanny saw tremendous potential in me as a dancer. So at like my peak chubby self, she had put me in Bharatnatyam classes. The only memory that I have of Bharatnatyam is that there's this one stance that you take very often wherein your knees are outside and you try sitting. And for a rash laden person like me, it just used to feel so comforting just to like have my legs spread out.
And looking back now, that wasn't random. That position is exactly what this area needs to open, stretch, and actually work. Because when this inner line stays closed and compressed, it holds density right at the center, which makes your entire lower body look wider and stunted. So instead of creating length, you're cutting it off right in the middle. But the moment you start opening this area up, you create space, flow, and a much cleaner leg line, because what you do not move, you don't change. And this area is one of the most ignored yet most responsive parts of our bodies.
So the thing about inner upper thigh area, both in front as well as the back, especially for us women, is that since childhood, we've been told never to have your legs spread because that's a bad girl thing.
So this entire inner line grows up tight, held in, and never really opened. And over time, that's exactly where most stubborn heaviness starts to sit. Lower belly, inner thighs, that entire central line, which quietly makes your lower body look wider, softer, and more stunted.
That actually just looked like an extension of something that I was doing forever. Again, like I said, it looks like I'm connecting two unrelated things, but it's literally that, the stance in Bharatnatyam and this movement that I'm just going to show you.
Stand on a slightly elevated surface like a yoga block, feet wide, toes and knees turned out. Then sit down, pushing your knees out and come back up. You'll feel a sharp pull through your inner and upper thigh line, something most of us have almost never felt. And that's exactly what starts tightening this entire area, lifting it, cleaning up that central line. This plie-like stance directly hits that inner upper thigh line, the one area that's almost never activated. It's why even forms like bar and Bharatanatyam stay in this position, because it opens this inner line and reshapes how your entire body sits. And maybe, just maybe, that old rumor that wasn't completely wrong. Bharatanatyam wasn't about making your body bigger, it was about this stance making things tighter, more lifted and more defined. That's actually what creates that sculpted danseuse look. Not compression, not layering, but structure.
When I look good, I feel good.
And finally, your upper body, because this is your shop front, what gets seen first and judged first. And this is exactly where most women quietly get it wrong. Between wearing the wrong size bras, tightening straps, underwires digging in, constant phone usage, we slowly start pulling this entire frame downwards. What feels like support is often just pressure sitting on your ribs, compressing everything underneath. So instead of lifting, your upper body starts shortening, collapsing, and aging much faster than the rest of you. Your chest drops, your posture caves, your waist looks shorter, and no matter what you do below, your entire frame starts reading heavier, older, and more stunted. Because this isn't a clothing problem, it's a structural one.
So I developed physically a lot sooner than most of girls my age. So when I started wearing a bra, I think most girls were not required to. And so that I look flat chested just like them, I did not wear one bra. I will wear two bras just so that I look a lot more flat chested. And if this was not enough, I will tighten my bra strap to like the shortest distance possible. This of course made breathing harder, but eventually even changed the shape of my bust line and chest. This pulling that sort of also does the job of a push-up bra.
And for the longest time, I thought that was lifting. But real lift is not about tightening, it's about direction. Because vertical length can only come from vertical movements, not from relying on bras, pasties, or any kind of shaping to do the work for you. Just because something looks engineered to lift or has a fancy label on it doesn't mean it actually can. Most of the time, it's just redistributing weight and adding pressure where your body is already struggling to hold itself. And over time, we start adapting to that. We stop reaching up, we stop opening our arms fully, whether it's discomfort, self-consciousness, or just the habit. But that upward movement, meaning lifting your arms, opening your frame, is the only way you can actually create space, length, and lift in your upper body. Instead, we keep compressing ourselves into fixed shapes, expecting our bodies to fit perfectly into mass-produced molds, somewhere between a restrictive sports bra and a delicate bralette, and then wonder why nothing truly fits or sits right.
So I started exercising by running in the parks. And in a way, it used to feel really nice because I used to be drenched in sweat. And so the only go-to thing that I had back then is I will just find like the kids ka jungle gym and I will just hang there. Because it's tangible, trying, controlling your body, doing a harder thing just by lifting your entire body's weight. I kept doing it, although it did not give me any results back then. But over the years, as a coping mechanism, with elevated toes, because I keep hanging to things now as a part of my workout, it's delivered the corset frame that is often very hard for most people to achieve.
This is not the first time you're hearing me talk about dead hangs, and honestly, you don't need 100 exercises to fix your posture or lift your frame. Most workouts today are made to look good to watch. So there's always variety, because if someone told you that one simple move can do most of the work, you wouldn't keep coming back, right? But this is that one move. If you want to look vertically elongated, you have to do vertical things. Hanging is your body literally fighting gravity. It opens your chest, lengthens your muscles, improves circulation, and teaches your body to hold itself up. And over time, that shows. You look lighter, more lifted, more put together, younger without forcing it. This is why dancer bodies look the way they do. Not thinner, just more lifted. Because lengthening is not just fitness, it's legit beauty. So if there's one thing you take away from this, just hang.
Now that we're at the end of this video, I'm going to show you why I keep fidgeting with my phone so much. Because this is my video on how you can look elongated with 4 simple steps that also became my coping mechanisms filled with lots of childhood memories. Do try these 4 simple techniques and I'm going to see you in the next one.